Episode is brought to you by Spick and Span Cleaning Services, owned by Tang, a mom of 3, and she specializes in commercial and residential cleaning. Follow her on Instagram at spickandSpan_LLC, and you can send her a free video consult. She could tell you how much your work is going to be. Book her. Welcome back to the Mommy's Anonymous podcast, everyone. Welcome back. This is episode 11. 11 is my favorite number, probably because my birthday is September 11th, and I think that's my angel number. 9/11, all the 11s I claim, and but this is a good sign. This is a good number. I feel good, and I wanted to talk today about pressure and about the pressures of moms, of women in general before we become moms. All of the pressure, all the different things that we have to deal with. And I don't know if I got this from Dallas forcing us to watch Encanto a bunch of times and that lady having that song about surface pressure, but it's just strung a chord because it's really a lot of pressure that we put on ourselves. And it's just even before even conceptualizing having kids, people are asking you, when are you about to have a baby? As soon as they see you with the guy, they want to know when you guys are having a baby. Like, it's not a life-altering situation, not a whole bunch of other things that you want to get in order before you make that super duper huge emotional, financial, toll. It's going to take a huge toll on you, and people act like it's just something you should just do, and that you should just not take as seriously. And societies as a whole asking women, that's so insensitive to me. If you don't know the person, especially if you don't know the person, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know if they're losing, if they're having fertility issues, or they could be having miscarriages, or anything can be going on. They could just not want children. They could have a really rough upbringing where they don't see themselves being a mom right now, or just don't want to bring a child into the world that is awful. Or it's just so much. There's so many other things that people want to cross off their list before motherhood, and womanhood is one of the things that you want to conquer before entangling that with children who directly affect your mental. Before you even become a full-blown woman, you're people that have had children at 16, and I couldn't imagine. I had Dallas at 21, and I feel like it completely stunted my growth as just a woman first, because I had to stop and be a mom instead of working on my womanhood. And there's a lot of things that I missed out on that I can still do them, and I'm learning to do them now and making time for myself now. But there's things that I wasn't able to do, and I had to restructure my whole plan once I became a mom. And with people, we talked about this before, legislation telling us different states where there's abortion that is illegal. It's just so careless to not allow people to have a choice when once you have a child, all your choices are basically gone for a period of time. So it's why give up that choice, the last choice you'll ever have, without having a child to consider? Why would you have to give that up? Why would people be at the same time encouraging you to have a child but not being ready to help support you afterwards? It's just really, it's like a double-edged sword. People are like, oh my God, have a baby, bring more life into this world. And then you bring them and they're like, it's your responsibility. You should have never did that. It's like, y'all been telling me since I was, and since y'all seen me and Dez together to get married and have babies. And then even if you get pregnant before you have kids, it's just a lot. If you get pregnant before you get married, people then start to pressure you. When are you going to get married? If you and your partner are together, now you guys have the pregnancy announcement. Everybody's like, when's the wedding? How are you supposed to really think about if you want to get married, if you should get married, if your affairs are aligned at that time, if you guys are equally yoked, and all the other things that you're supposed to prepare for? How are you supposed to add marriage counseling into a baby that might not have been planned necessarily, and was just a love baby, and can still be a love baby with or without marriage, and without marriage in mind? And it's not 1 + 1 doesn't equal a happy ending. A happy ending does not always mean marriage within 9 months, or the thought having to be made before the baby, but I know I felt pressure to get married, but Des and I were already engaged. So it was just more of a, when do we get married, and not if we're going to get married because of the baby. So I got married while I was pregnant. I was 6 months pregnant at my wedding. And a lot of people didn't know. It was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of behind the scenes, just judgment that was going on, just having a child out of wedlock. And it's so crazy that feels like I'm talking about something ancient, like having a child out of wedlock. I feel like these are biblical terms, and we're in present day. Des and I have been married for almost 8 years now, so it just feels like we knew we were going to get married, but I can't imagine somebody making a decision to get married while their brains are all scrambled and pregnant. Like, you have pregnancy brain and then you can't even take it back. Or, not that you would want to take it back, but it just requires just as much thought as having a baby. And it's just so much pressure put on you, and people want to say pressure builds diamonds, but it also kills people. Like, you can also put too much pressure on somebody, they could die. So before the diamonds, before the diamond phase, you could really quite literally die from all of it. So it's not really a fair thing to say. And yes, like, God's not going to put more on you than you can bear, but sometimes you feel like it kind of is, and you don't know until you realize you don't break, that you could handle it all along. And it's just, I know that the way that society works, before you can even grab on to like your household value, like, what do you value as a parent, and what do you value as a family unit, and what do you value as a woman and a mom, before you make all these decisions that are forever. And a lot of people are having babies so young, and I think young is under 30. I feel like you're not as prepared as you think for any of these things. And I'm not saying that we were wrong for having kids younger, but I just know every day I feel more prepared. Like, I feel like I could have been more prepared all along. There's so many things I've picked up on that I wish I had known beforehand. And if I had just lived a little bit longer, I would have known some of those things just from living life. But I mean, we're here now, we're learning later, better late than never. But it definitely feels like if I had prepared more, there's so many people that know more about doulas and baby schedules and nursing and all those type of things. And all it took was just a little bit more time and research. But at that time, I'm trying to work on opening a bakery. I wasn't trying to work, like, practice and learn how to have a baby or what to expect when expecting. I wasn't even there yet. I'm trying to make $1 million. And along the way, now we've been adding on to our family, and we're trying to figure out how to make this plan work with the children involved. And it's gonna work, but it's definitely, everybody could take a little time to relieve yourself of some pressure and take some time to think about all of the options. What do you, like, I can't, it's just like marital planning, how you go to marriage counseling and you talk about how do you want to spend your money, how do you guys save, how do you guys raise children. It's like there's so much that two parents should sit down and talk about as well, even if you're not together, even if you're not going to be together. How are we going to co-parent? How are we going to, how do we punish the children or, discipline the children? How do we, like, what are we feeding them? Like, are they vegan? Are they, like, who knows? There's so many things, and you don't really want to realize that and figure that out once the baby pops out. Because I can understand how that would be chaotic to try to figure out parenting styles when the baby's actually here. But while people are just pressuring you to have gender reveals and baby showers and this type of baby shower and all of those things, that's what you're worried about. That's what the new pressure is now that you're pregnant. Figuring out all of the ways to let people celebrate you. But you could be trying to figure out all the ways that you would like to parent and raise this child. But there's so much. I couldn't imagine having a gender reveal, like a big elaborate one like they have these days. It just seems like, I don't know, I'm not gonna say a waste of money, because people really do need to celebrate more things. Life is so short. But it feels like the pressures of these little celebrations hold more weight than the pressure of the real thing that's coming. It's kind of like celebrating a wedding more than the marriage. You have to actually think about the fact that you're about to have a baby forever, or a child forever, and this living thing forever. And just like you nurture a marriage and you prepare for a marriage and all that comes with, you kind of have to plan for a baby in that same way, and just strategize all the, like, through sickness and through health. Like, think about your marriage vows and vows for marriage like your vows to be a good parent, and just take the pressure off yourself a little bit that things are going to go wrong. Your plan is not always going to go wrong, but I would rather have a plan than no plan at all. Like, just have some type of something. But all the pressure, I know that makes it hard. I know it did for me. But we got through it, and I feel like a better person. I'm not going to say that this is everybody was right, pressure makes diamonds, because we're not there yet, but it didn't kill me. So I guess that's a good sign. What is the big deal about having a baby before 30 anyway? Like, when you're not financially free or even close to it. Like, I can see me realistically, or somebody working and achieving some level of their goals by 30, like meeting a guy and being with him for 5 years, or whatever you feel like makes you feel comfortable to bring life into the world. I think the most important job as a parent is choosing the other parent. Like, that's your first job, is choosing the baby's father and the baby's mother. Like, you have to choose wisely. This is your child's parent forever. My parents have been divorced since I was 2. But my dad talks about my mom so highly, and he still, like, how you show a picture of your kids? My dad's like, look at my kids and look at my ex-wife. Literally has a picture of her in his wallet, because he loves her, and like he loves her, and she's beautiful, and he doesn't regret her as a mother, a choice of a mother, because look at us, we have turned out very well. And he's like, I'm glad I didn't get any of my other girls pregnant, and I think about that all the time. Like, I can't imagine if I let Dez be with somebody else and have some kids and be cooking dinner with a Jordyn Cakes apron on and singing to them. Like, I couldn't imagine us not being together. Like, it was the best decision I've ever made, was choosing him as my kid's father. And I just think that is like the most important and the first choice as a mom. And that pressure, I think, is worthy. Like, it's because that you're gonna regret if you choose somebody that might not have been the best, and now you have to find a step parent, and then choosing a step parent is hard. I'm sure my stepfather was great. He had to adjust, though. It still was a level of love, like learning how to love us, that he had to do, and you wouldn't have had to do that if it was your child's biological parent. But you will find somebody that's going to love your children, and that's going to love anything that comes from you. So it's just, all of that, I think, takes so much time, and rushing things before 30 is so young. I can't wait to be 30. I'm 28 now, but when I'm 30, I just feel like I'm going to be at another level of adulthood and financial freedom and just stability that I don't feel yet. And because I'm in my 20s, and I just have a lot of responsibilities in this space of dysfunction, and I wish sometimes I didn't, and I had more time to myself before bringing on all these children. Sometimes I'm like, dang, did I mess up having all of y'all before I got my life together? But now we're in this together, and we're getting our lives together simultaneously as raising them. But it's just so much pressure, y'all. It's so much on a woman who has their whole lives ahead of them. There's so many women that have had children much later than 30, but there are issues with fertility if you wait until later. So I understand, but that's not fair. Because there are issues, it's not fair to put the pressure on the women, because you don't know if they've been taking birth control since they were 15 or even younger to regulate their periods and regulate their acne. They used to give people, birth control pills to regulate their acne back in the day, rather than giving them face wash. Now you're putting something permanently in their body at such a young age. And now when they're more prepared to have children, they're having issues with conceiving. And I couldn't imagine how that would feel to be at a stage where you've picked your person, you met, you've done all the things. You've done, even if you waited for your career, to do it in a smart way and not frivolously have children that cost a whole bunch of money. And now you're having issues because of the thing that the doctor said was going to help you. Turned out it's not going to help you for long. And then when you're ready to have a child, it might be harder for you to, or all the side effects that come with birth control. You gain weight, and this, and your hair is thinning, all the things. Like, there's so much that comes with it. But then there's the other end where you could just be getting pregnant and dealing with that. So it's just hard to weigh out your options. And as like when we were growing up, our moms, my mom didn't pressure me to get on birth control until she found out that I was sexually active. But it's still just like, that's not ask me if I want to be a mom later, ever, and then tell me, okay, at 18 you're probably going to be taking birth control for however long. Like, I never even end up taking any, ever. I always felt kind of against birth control because I've always read a little bit too much, and I've always read the side effects, and if something tells me that I could possibly not get pregnant ever, I don't. That's why I don't like taking my anxiety medicine, because they say that, or your antidepressants, because they say that you're more likely to want to commit suicide. And it's like, I don't know if I want to make myself more susceptible to something that I feel, ever. I don't need help having those scary thoughts. I don't need medicinal help to feel crazy. I already feel crazy, and if this medicine's supposed to be helping me, like, it doesn't feel like it. So it's just all the pros and cons. Yes, I think birth control it's hopeful, and I do know it did regulate some people's periods. But I remember a friend in junior high school, like, that was taking birth control so young, and it's just I know that the parents were doing it to do what was best and do what the doctor said, but now upon further review, it just sucks that people don't find out till too late, or not even too late, because it's always something you can do, but then it's something more expensive. Like, IVF is so expensive, like, if that's your next option. So it seems mighty convenient for doctors sometimes to encourage one thing that'll lead you to having to pay more to conceive, or paying more to adopt and do all of those, and have a surrogate, all those things. I remember asking my aunt, who was having issues with conceiving, if she wanted me to be her surrogate, and I would have loved to. I really love being pregnant. Like, bringing the baby home part is a little bit more scary than the pregnancy part, because then you don't know how prepared you are. But I would have done that for her. I love my aunt to death. I would do it for her today if she wanted me to, because I know it's hard. I don't know what it would feel like to not be able to bring life into this world, and you wanted to. I've not had to experience that, thank God. And I'm just observing the pressures that I see my friends dealing with, and their parents encouraging them to have kids, and encouraging, them to speed up their dating process so they could be one step closer to having kids. And I just see the pressure and I'm sitting here crying about my kids while their parents are encouraging them to be in my exact position. And it's like, I don't want to be negative Nancy, but I'm just like, y'all, just get y'all's lives together. Like, get your ducks in a row, because every day you guys are being more prepared. Every time I cry, you guys know a little bit more of what to expect, and you're more realistic. So I think that they're learning in the process. They're just living, and I don't want any of them to stop doing their many things. One of my friends is working for corporate and has been able to travel to 2 different states, and she's getting another job. She could travel somewhere else. But what would you be able to do if you had kids? This is something I've never experienced, being able to up and leave a state without having to get a whole bunch of ducks and babies in a row. Like, that's not an option for me. But this is the option if you plan to have a life and you be a woman before you decide to be somebody's mom. It's a really big decision, and it's one that is worth the wait. And I feel like God is going to bless everybody with a child in whatever way, and bringing other babies into your life to experience them, and God babies and nieces and nephews and stuff, and giving you exactly what you need at that time, and like trusting God to, give you the desires of your heart. So the timing for him is always going to be right. You just have to keep going. So I don't know. I'm just, because of the fact that I've not struggled with conception, obviously, I just wanted to say that it's just so much more scary to have these children without knowing. And I think that the women that are choosing to wait, you guys are doing just fine. That's a good parenting decision too. That's a good mothering decision to wait. Even if it's before you have children, you're still doing something as a mother, if you plan on having children ever, by taking your time. This is great. You're doing a great job. So I'm learning now while I'm struggling, but just go to therapy, get your stuff together, get yourselves together. You're going to be so much more equipped to have this child and not have to deal with as much trauma, because you're prepared and you prayed for that baby and you wanted the baby. And it's a beautiful thing to see when people bring life into this world later on in life, and later on, not even 30. I'm not saying that's later on, but when I talk about like Janet Jackson's and those women that, they took their time, they had their careers, they lived their lives, and now they have a baby that they can sit there and focus on and not push off to the side like I feel like I have to do all the time. And like, okay, you go sit over there. I would love to have a whole bunch of money and have my babies with me all the time with a couple breaks on the side. But just, I would like to see what that would be like. So you guys are on to something. Y'all, this is great planning for you guys. It's just the pressure society puts on y'all, don't let that beat you down, because you're doing something right. And I'm looking to you like, good job, and keep working on yourselves before you bring new life from this world. Another thing that I fell victim to, another pressure situation, is the pressure of social media, and that they put on you for the SnapBack after you have the baby. Like, it's super duper crazy to anticipate or to expect your body to snap back into place right after you have a child, and that pressure makes people edit their photos and work out like crazy, or just not feel good about the fact they can't post themselves because they didn't snap back. You look like 6 months pregnant for a couple of days after you have a baby sometimes, depending on what part of your uterus the baby was in. There's so many things where the baby is in your body and what you do. Like, it's like, if you have a C-section, are you going to be able to snap back as easily? Are you going to, when you're in these pictures with the snapback, do you have a stomach wrap on your stomach? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all the things that make people feel bad and make people think that this is a part of motherhood, which is snapping back, and that defines how well you took care of yourself while pregnant or afterwards. But snapping back requires you to be eating healthy. You think it's like nursing. I heard that. Like, if you breastfeed, you'll burn twice as many calories. So you should do that so you can hurry up and snap back. So that was one of the reasons why I was trying to stick to breastfeeding. So I'm like, I'm gonna be pissed if I can't snap back and I stop breastfeeding all early. But it's like that, I shouldn't even been thinking like that. I should have been thinking, for the nourishment of this precious baby, I should be trying to breastfeed. But I know I wasn't about to work out. I'm not about to go on no walks. I know I'm not about to eat any healthier. So the one thing I can do is breastfeed. I don't even have time to do none of that other type of self-care stuff. So this is the only way to make sure I can get back small. But I just don't even know why that was my concern. But as soon as that baby came out, I was really ready for my stomach to be out. So I was trying to be back small. And I wanted to be the size that felt comfortable for me. And it was just so much pressure to get back to myself. And the next time I'm out, I don't want to look fat, or I don't want to not fit my clothes, and I don't want to feel self-conscious. I don't want to just anybody to look at anything. You just want to be invisible sometimes, and you can't if your body looks any differently. You can't if you're putting your pictures up on social media and people are negative and will say like, oh girl, you almost back. Like, why you have to say stuff like that? Like, this just doesn't matter. People just push the whole baby out their vagina, and you think that they're about to just snap back into place when there's so much else that's not snapping back into place. Our mental is not even snapped back into place. We're not okay right after the baby. And labor is so scary that the thoughts of after labor and how you're going to look is just insane to have that going across your mind. I don't know if we make labor look luxurious. I had my lashes done. I had my hair curled for sure. I wanted my kids to see somebody fine when they came out. Like, the first person you see to be your mama. And that was, and me look nice, I thought. I don't think it mattered. My labor pictures, I think, looked really great, if I do say so myself. But I felt pressured to do that. My mom had pictures of us in labor where she had red lipstick on, and this is right after she had us. So me trying to be emulating her and being like that, and just making this horrible life and death experience, not horrible, but this life and death experience of labor look more glamorous, just so as women do, you don't really see how much we're struggling and how awful it is, and you just want people to think that you're okay, and you are, but it's like all that comes with it. You're trying to dress up something that's not, it's not all glitter, and it's mostly not glitter at all. So it's just a lot that labor brings. I didn't have a lot of expectations because after Dallas, I felt like I could handle the rest of the labors. I had been there before. I've felt what it feels like. I got an epidural all 3 times, but with Denim, you know how they say that black women don't get taken seriously and black women are more likely to die in labor and they're more likely to not be listened to when we say we're in pain. I don't know, even in labor, when everybody feels the same, like not that feels the same, but this is the most excruciating pain that people can describe, is giving birth, one of those. Why, when a black woman says I'm in pain, it's looked at any differently than a white woman who says they're in pain? And we're all in labor and we're all pushing a human out of a vagina or getting something ripped out of our bodies. Like, why is a white woman's pain looked at and taken seriously? Why are we more likely to die? Like, I've experienced not being taken seriously, but not to my detriment, thank God. But I was telling them I was in a lot of pain with Denim. This is Denim's labor. And he was a week late. I was induced with all of the babies, and they induced me. The process was slow, but it started to pick up, and I started to feel like a lot of pain. I'm like telling the doctor and the nurse that I'm in pain. And they're like, no, it's just pressure. Like, it's just pressure. You're just feeling a lot of pressure. Like, sometimes pressure feels like pain. And I'm like, this pressure feels a lot like pain. Like, this feels terrible. I don't know what's going on. But then he ended up coming super fast. The baby came out before our doctor even arrived. Because I was in so much pain, I ended up pushing him out, and he shot right out with the nurse there, and that's it. Because I've heard that the epidural slows down your labor process because you're too comfortable. So the pain will push the pain, whatever is causing you pain, out. And so that's kind of why they encourage you not to get an epidural. But I didn't even care about that. I just wanted to not be in pain. But I'm telling them I'm in pain. They don't believe me. Lo and behold, after they pull the baby out, they're cleaning him up and everything. They come to take my epidural out my back. And they're like, oh, it's not even in your back anymore. The port, it detached. Whatever, the needle was completely out of my back. And just through the tape, they could see the tape stuff on the back, and the needle was out of it. So I hadn't been getting any of the epidural medication through the labor. But I'm telling them that I was in pain, and they should have checked my epidural port to make sure I was all right. I don't know what happened, but it was out. But I said I was in pain, but they didn't believe me and didn't want to check and don't want to do an extra thing. And so that's just so crazy to not be believed and not be taken seriously because we're black women and we are stronger and we're supposed to be able to endure more. I don't know why, but they don't want to help us when we're in need. And they don't, Denim, that was Denim, right? Afterwards, he was in distress, or his heart rate was faster, and they made us stay at the hospital longer. But he had just gotten circumcised. And it's like, what's the math on that? Like, his heart's probably beating fast because y'all just cut his dick. Like, I don't understand. So I was just like, all right. He wasn't jaundiced. The baby was fine. But they just said his heart. But we stayed there for a couple days. I know they were trying to look out for him. But dang, y'all didn't want to look out for me when I was in pain. My heart rate was up. But that's the hard part about choosing to do things the conventional way and then having those pressures is it's hard to find a doctor and an OBGYN that will encourage you to have birth at home or encourage you to give a water birth. They don't want you to do that stuff. They want you to come and be medicated and be monitored. They don't want you to stand up no certain type of way. As soon as you get that epidural, you are stuck. They don't want you on no ball. They don't really want you. You see all the different ways that you can sit and stand and squat to give birth that seem more natural because of gravity, or whatever, that make more sense than you pushing a baby out laying horizontally on your back. It's just so much other things that you could do, but they don't encourage you to do that. And as a person I'm not saying I can't stand up for myself, but I really didn't care to think about all of the other options and persuade them I did not want to have a baby at home. I know I wanted medication, but I couldn't have imagined wanting that and them being receptive to that. I can't imagine me saying, I want, can you come to my home? I have a doula. They wouldn't even allow Des to be in the doctor's office with me. So now the traditional role of a doula is different if you're not allowed to be in there, if it's only the spouse and the mother. So it kind of messes up your options right there. It's already against your birth plan. They're not really trying to encourage you to have your choice of how you want to bring this baby into this world. But then when you're saying that you're in pain, they also don't want to listen to you after you could have had an advocate there for you. So it just sucks that that's the reality that we live in. And at the same time, everybody's telling you to have a baby, and they don't even want to treat you right when you do. So definitely sucks. So another thing that puts a lot of pressure on me, and has in the past, because now I'm not past the milestone phase, but I know your children reaching all these different milestones. You see these other babies online holding their bottles at 3 days old, and they're like, look at my baby, he's advanced. And you're like, God damn it. Like, but I think everybody holds their bottles under a week now. Like, I don't know what's in the stuff we're eating and the chicken nuggets we're eating, but these kids are more advanced. So that milestone seems like it's within week 1. The kids are going to eat. So it's just a lot of milestones and things that we document. We used to just write them in a baby book. I know my mom has a baby book when I rolled over for the first time, and I'm sure she wasn't having people checking for if your baby's rolling over yet on Instagram. You know, there's a lot of people that are now talking about correlating breastfeeding with when your baby knows how to do certain things, holding their head up and walking and stuff. Like, Dash walked at 10 months, but Denim didn't start walking until like 13 months. Or 12, like maybe exactly 12 months. I'm not sure. But he wasn't necessarily early, but I was waiting for him, like, dang, brother. You know, Dallas, I think he was like 11 months or something, because he was walking at his first birthday. But all the kids are so different that the milestones, even within our family, don't make anybody slower or faster. Dallas is clearly the most advanced, you know, even though he was the who was the slowest one? Well, Denim was the slowest one to walk, but they're all running now, you know, regardless. Dash seems like he's going to be a little bit more advanced because he's following right behind Denim and saying and doing all the same things. He's trying to pull his pants down to get potty trained now, and he knows when he needs to be changed. He walks over to the bathroom and says he wants to get in the shower when he, you know, takes a shit. So it's like, you know what's up, so it's time to potty train you, and he's just one. Now, Denim and Dash are 13 months apart, but they are Dash is 7 pounds heavier than him and wearing a 3T, while Denim is wearing a 2T. So these milestones and these things don't really mean anything, because we're raising them the same way and feeding them the same things and doing the same things. So it doesn't even matter, like nature versus nurture. What you're seeing on social media, you know, doesn't have as much of an impact as it feels like it does, because everybody's going to end up leveling out anyway. I know for a while, because Dash wasn't doing some of the things Denim was doing, I would forget that they're different ages because they're the same size. And I'm thinking something's wrong with Dash. Like, why doesn't he get it? And he's a whole year younger than him, and I'm just ready for you to get up and come on, like, and listen. And no means no, but you're a baby still. Like, he's still one, and it's just hard because he's humongous. He's like the really big baby on Boss Baby. That's how Dash is. And it's just crazy to have to treat him like he's not a toddler, and to treat him like he knows better sometimes, because he really doesn't. Another milestone is like the kids knowing 200 words by age 2. I felt the pressure. I have a note in my phone. Every time Denim would say something new, I would put it in my notes, because I want to keep track also. I want to know if you're keeping up with the milestones. I'm not really posting it on social media. I didn't take it that far. I think it would be helpful to tell people if your child is, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a happy mommy moment, but it's just not as important as people make it seem to, like, kind of clock those milestones, unless you think that there's something wrong. But I know it kind of made me think something was wrong. I'm more hypersensitive to the stuff that Dash is doing, like making sure he's all right. Is he showing me emotional cues? Is he using, is he using this many words yet? But I have a lot of expectation for him already, and I'm putting pressure on him subliminally or subconsciously, and maybe I shouldn't be, because I want you to catch up and act like your brothers and man up already. And that's crazy because he's a little baby. But another pressure of having a really big birthday party for their first birthday. I fell victim to that every time. Denim didn't have a birthday party, a big birthday party the first year. I don't know, it wasn't as big as Dallas's. Dallas had like 2 sculpted cakes. I sculpted Buzz and Woody. I made a 7-tier cake for him and everything. It was insane. But Denim, I kind of got a little more wise and realized that was stupid, and Dallas will never remember that. And we just had a backyard party, and for Denim and Dash, we had a joint birthday party. But it is a lot of pressure, because when the time comes, people are like, well, what are you doing for their birthday party? What are you doing for their birthday party? And it's like, I don't really want to do anything. The kid, they're so young that they don't know. Now that Dallas is older, he will know. So we do try to do something for his birthday, because he knows that it's time to celebrate. But until the babies realize that it's time to celebrate, we really don't need to spend that money or ask people or kind of require people, put pressure on people to bring gifts and to attend. And I feel bad for people feeling like they have to do another thing and have to come be around a lot of kids. And I'm hypersensitive to all those things and kids running around and screaming and party stuff, so I always try to make sure people don't feel pressured to come. But a lot of people just like to enjoy and be around and celebrate you, but it just feels like a lot of pressure when people are asking you. You might not have had that on your agenda. Having people asking me already, what am I doing for Denim and Dash's birthday, is insane, because their birthdays in August and September. I don't want to think about anybody's birthday, because we have August, September, November, and January. Those are our birthdays in our house. So the first half of the year is get money time. It is not birthday planning time or thinking about birthdays. I plan a birthday party in 1 week, because that's how much time I have to invest in it and how much energy I have to invest in that. And like, I was talking to one of my friends about the pressure of getting our kids into these schools and them testing into schools. Now, Dallas did test into a really, really good school. It's like the number 2 school in the city, Lennart Regional Gifted Academy. We really like them there. But I was just surprised that he tested there under my homeschooling from quarantine. Like, I was very surprised that he made it in there. But I learned that they test based on potential and not on what you actually know right then all the time. There's some things that they can look at you, and they're looking at your work to see your desire to learn and your ability to learn more so than what you know right now. So that's like a lesson to me, to really give myself some grace, because I have a lot of potential to learn. Everything that I have gone through, I've been able to accomplish. So I should give myself that and remember that even if I have things that feel like failures, I'm more equipped the next time to do them properly and to learn. I'm very willing to learn and get the next resource. Dallas is so eager to learn when he does something wrong, or he desires to do everything right. So he's eager. He's not the best reader still, but he definitely wants to read. The teacher just told us the other day that she's so proud and excited that Dallas still picks up the books. Because a lot of times when kids aren't as advanced and they're not reading the chapter books yet, they start shying away from reading. But Dallas doesn't, and he picks up the books that are more advanced because that's what he wants to read. But he feels like he's definitely internalizing the pressure in school and turning it into something productive. He's definitely taking the pressures like he wants to be better, where I internalize pressure differently. I internalize it, and it's crippling for me sometimes, until I get over it, till I come up with an elaborate plan. But being more mindful about the fact that I've dealt with every other situation that I felt like I was about to break from the pressure, I've overcome it. I have to always remember that part before I freak out, before I give up and break my own self from my self-doubt. Like, I'm trying to be more like the kids and more, dust yourself off and try again instead of crumbling under the pressure. I'm really trying to work on that. But the pressure of motherhood, it never stops. It's too many phases. It's too many levels to the parenthood. There's too many different rounds. I feel like I'm a Crash Bandicoot, and every round I got like 5 lives and little mask faces, but I'm trying to get to the next round and to overcome pressure before it beats me, because my kids love me and my kids love us. So we're doing a good job. We're doing something right. So the pressure I'm putting on myself, I kind of got to let it go so I can have a more pleasant motherhood experience. Well, guys, this is the end of season 1 of the Mommy's Anonymous podcast. We have done 11 episodes and about 20 Dear Mama shorts. Please feel free to catch up on everything. Leave comments, like, subscribe, share with other moms. Get everybody paying attention to this movement that we are starting. We're going to have brand new topics, brand new moms to meet, and different mommy meetups and situations where we can incorporate our healing together and figure out how we can navigate this motherhood thing together. We're still figuring it out, but we are so happy that you guys have been on this journey with us. Everything has been beautiful. Everything is unfolding just like we thought, and even better than we thought. So please continue to support and to watch the journey, and to feel like you can always come to me and ask me some questions, because I don't know everything, but I know a couple things. So thanks for being a part of the Mommy's Anonymous podcast. We appreciate you.